welcome to my review of Rings of Power. It's Midlife Nerded here, and this will be the first time I think I've ever been on camera, so bear with me. So, I'm going to be reviewing Rings of Power, and the reason that I haven't reviewed it so far is because, well, one, it's been dunked on quite a lot, so I wanted to give it a fair shot, wait until it was actually ready to be viewed, and there were a few episodes going. Don't think you can always tell something from the first couple of episodes, but we're now at episode 5. There's only 3 episodes left, so we're more than halfway through the season, and I felt this was a great point to jump in. There will be spoilers in this, if you can call them that. I think one of the main issues I've got with the show at the moment is how slow that the plot and the narrative arc moves forward. But there will be some light spoilers, so if you don't want that, let's address the elf in the room first, Galadriel. Now, you'll probably have seen some commentary on social media around Galadriel's character. And for the most part, I do agree with what everyone's saying. She is typical Disney kind of era, strong woman. She's got a sword in her hand, and it is such a diversion from how she's portrayed both in the Jackson movies and also in the book. But I am more normie than nerdy, so I could kind of get over that, having read Lord of the Rings, attempted the Silmarillion, and obviously having read The Hobbit quite a few years ago. I thought, I'm going to give it a chance. They're working only with the appendices. I'm going to give the show a chance, and that's what I've done. So here we are at the end of episode 5, and F all has happened, pretty much. So if you were starting the show, if you want to know whether to watch it or not, I usually give advice as to whether it's worth your time. You could start at episode 5, read a Wikipedia entry on all of the episodes up to this point, and you're not really missing that much, which is quite sad. There's been lots of politics over the show in terms of what was considered race-swapped characters. To be honest, I don't give a stuff. I don't give a stuff that Lenny Henry's in it. I don't give a stuff about the actress that plays Disa. And actually, to be fair, with the dwarves, Disa and Durin are probably 2 of my favourite characters. So she's done a great job as an actress. I think what's really pissed most people off is the virtue signalling that goes around with it. It's kind of not talking about the story, not talking about the plot, not talking about how great the show is, but just about representation and racism. And it's things like this that really get people's backs up, especially fans. The other mistake I think that the showrunners have made is thinking that this was a fandom you were going to pull the wool over, or I don't know if anyone saw the video about the superfans. Not a single one of those people has actually made any content about this show. So they weren't fans, they were just basically shills who were paid to say that they were superfans, which is ridiculous, to try and to try and bring in a younger audience or something like that. It's kind of one of those really weird things, this show. It looks beautiful. I mean, there's some real screensaver moments in terms of the cinematography, but it's kind of polluted by the political stuff that obviously Prime's trying to push in terms of everyone's a racist who doesn't like it. No, we just all don't want to be bored to death. It's that kind of thing where we need to be able to have a real honest discussion about this. The portrayal of Galadriel is completely different to the books, completely different to the Peter Jackson movie. And I was kind of okay with that. But, she's supposed to be 6'4" in the book. She's supposed to be statuesque, all this. And she's, Morphy Clark, bless her. I mean, she must be, 5'3" wringing wet? I'm 5'10", so I probably have a better chance. There is actually quite a funny bit where she's stood up on a boat and the people sat down and nearly the same height as her. Yeah, I'm not even joking. But at the same time, I want to give them credit where it's due. Some of the cinematography is stunning, absolutely stunning. And my friend James really loves the cinematography. He thinks it's great. Some of it is absolutely stunning. But then there's the story and the plot. And this is high fantasy. I think they really underestimated the love and the depth of feeling from the fan base that there is for Tolkien, for a start. But they also, even just people that like high fantasy, I think they really didn't get that this wasn't some kind of like YA, thing that you could just cobble together in half an hour. No offence to YA authors. I have actually read a bit of YA and some of it's all right. But this wasn't something that you could cobble together in half an hour. This is high fantasy. This is escapism. This This is something where you want to get out of the normal world. You don't want to be confronted with modern politics or the state of the world as it is. And I think this is a basic lack of understanding that they have in terms of high fantasy. You know, people don't read fantasy because they want to see their world portrayed or they want to see themselves. Actually, it's the opposite. They want to escape. They want to be the hero. They want to be the heroine. They want to be, even if it's grimdark, they want a story that completely takes them out of themselves and either, makes the real world look better than some grimdark stuff, or in high fantasy that completely washes them away. So they're enthralled, they're enraptured, they're somewhere else, looking at something else in a world completely different to their own. What they don't want is a complete representation of all the sociopolitics that we have in our world already. And this is where the show kind of lost me, because it is, at points, absolutely put in with a fricking crowbar. It's like some of the stuff. Oh yeah, and the whole comment about knife ears for the elves, you nicked that off Dragon Age, you little cheats. That's actually nicked out of Dragon Age, believe it or not. A very, very popular game, which is an RPG, if you're not a gamer. So they actually, they nick lines. And I have to say, episode 5, which is the most recent episode, does have a little bit of good dialogue in it, which is a shock because the dialogue has been horrendous up until now. You have not seen what I have seen. I have seen my share. You have not seen what I have seen. It's just crap like that really gets my goat. And the writers think they're clever and they're really not. Although I have to say episode 5 did have a little bit of dialogue, but please don't let the Horthrites sing. Please don't let the Horthrites sing. So I call them the Horthrites. I call Horthrites because they are quite evil little bastards. So I call them Horthrites. They did just after singing about all together, no one left behind. Yeah, first sign of trouble. Yeah, they leave people behind. So yeah, they're evil little shits. So back to the review. Is it worth it? I think. Don't hate watch it. I am sort of hate watching it. I must admit, the main thing for me at the moment is the fact that it's so boring because not a lot happens. And the dialogue is clunky. Galadriel, bless Morphy Clark, because obviously it's not her fault. She's only doing the part that she's been acted. But she just comes across as the most unlikable person that you've ever met. And even though in episode 5 there was a little bit of backstory to her in terms of she showed a tiny bit of vulnerability, it really came across not as vulnerability but manipulation, and that doesn't work either. Would I watch this show? Coming at it at this point, I would wait until the whole season is out, and I would definitely start with episode 5. I wouldn't bother with the first 4. Not a lot happens, and the character arcs aren't that brilliant. The only thing I would watch, possibly, of the first couple of episodes is Disa, who, whilst her politics may be lacking in terms of real life, I thought she's done an absolutely stunning job as an actress. And Durin as well, the other dwarf, is absolutely... I think Elrond is gay, and he's obviously got his best bud, Galadriel. It's just, there's so much to this which is so wrong. In places it looks cheap as well, which, considering they're supposed to have spent $1 billion on it, is not great. Conversely, I'm trying to think of nice things to say. I'm struggling a little bit. Conversely, there are some moments. In episode 5, there were a couple of moments. I did like the scene between Durin, Elrond and the Elf King. I thought that was really, really well done. I also liked the scene where they were both together. I hate the Horthrites. I just think they're useless. As I always ask, is it worth the cost of a Prime subscription? Well, I've got to be honest, I would wait until all 8 episodes are out, and then I would probably start at 5. Anyway, I've been Midlife Nerded. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you'd like to see more content, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell button.